So I'm gonna start with my right leg. Okay, my left leg is going to be planted on the ground. Okay, extending my knee as much as I can, and then just bringing up slowly. Okay, try not to put a lot of pressure on your bottom, on your planted foot. Okay, also not trying to lift from your hips as well. That'll just be caused by putting a lot of pressure on your foot. Remember, start from a low range of motion and then just work your way higher so you start feeling that tension. Good. Now we're just gonna hold at that max range of tension for about 20 seconds. So just relax for a few seconds. And now ready, go and hold. Trying to make sure your knee is not buckling too much. If you feel it buckling, just move down a little bit lower so you can maintain the lockout of the knee. Very good. Relax. Okay. Now I'm gonna bring my leg across. Okay. Once again, starting off from um, a lower range because you will feel this right along your glute and your the back of your thigh here. Okay. And then just lifting up nice and slowly. Actually, let's go this way. So you can see my foot is not as high as my hip is going to be. It probably won't get that far before you start feeling that tension. That's okay. Okay, so just start off nice and low, keeping that knee locked out, and then just pulling up nice and slightly. You're gonna find that depending on how close your foot is to the ground, you'll feel tension along different parts of your thigh and your glute. Okay, just slight differences there. If you go just a little bit higher, you'll probably feel it a little bit more on the back of the knee and like the front part of the hip, just along this part. Okay, if you go a little bit lower towards the ground, you'll feel it a bit more in your glute muscle. So just choose which one's better for you. Good. And now we're just gonna hold at that max range. Ready, hold. Good. Relax your leg for a second. Now we're gonna go off to the side. Okay. So for this one, you can keep your foot planted on the ground if you'd like, or outstretch it. It doesn't really matter too much for this one. Just make sure that if you are extending your foot, that your foot is still pointed up towards the ceiling. Up towards the ceiling. You're not letting it drop off to the side. So you're still engaging the muscles here, and then just picking your foot up, trying to bring it over top of the hips. This motion, you might find that um, it'll be easier for you to lift your foot to the same plane as your hip. Okay? You don't really need to go too much farther than this. Most often, uh, unless you're doing some crazy tricking videos. Tricking is just when people do those crazy flips and stuff in a row. So, yeah. Very good. Now we're gonna hold again. Ready? Hold. Good. Relax that leg. You can put both feet on the ground and just shake for a little bit. Okay. Moving on to the other side. Okay. So once again, the belt or whatever you're using um, should always be right around the arch of your foot, right in the middle of your foot. It shouldn't be up along the knuckles, okay? Because then if you put it up there, you'll find that you're putting more pressure um, along the calf muscle here. Which, if you want to do that, that's totally fine. To just remember that's gonna be compounded with the extension with the pull of this. So you might be putting a lot more pressure on your knee than you'll need to. Okay, so just for this one, I like having it around the arch of my foot. If you are gonna target the calf muscle, um, I would do it rather seatedly. Seatedly, I would do it when you're seated. Okay, so then that way you're not putting any extra pressure on the knee. Nice, very good. Now hold. Good. Relax. Bend that knee if you need to before you start going um, into the other one. Okay. So once again, just stacking your hips, starting off from a very low position so that um, it's almost like both my knees are together at this point. Okay. You don't need to engage your opposite leg for this one. Okay. And then from here, just lifting slightly. Once again, if you're lifting at the same plane as your hip. Okay, so that's higher off the ground. Okay, you'll find that you'll have a different tension than you would if it's closer to the ground. So just pick the one that's right for you. Good. Now hold. Very good. Relax. So this time we're gonna open our foot to the side. I'm gonna do it this way so that you can at least see my toes engaging here. So once again, eh, starting off nice and low, make sure you're not curling your back towards your foot. It should be nice and straight, and then you're just using your arms to pull. So if you feel yourself straining to pull your leg up, just readjust. Very good. Now hold. Good. Relax. Nice. Very good. Um, this next one we'll do on our side here. It'll look like we're almost laying down like so. My left foot is gonna come over top of my right foot. Okay, just to make this a little bit easier as well. I can go laying down all the way onto my side. Okay, so this is gonna come from the foot that's extended here. So I'm going to engage my foot, so that means pointing, um, sorry, flexing my foot so it's almost like I'm wearing a shoe. And then I'm just gonna lift and then come back down nice and slowly. Okay, so we'll just try and do 10 of those. Um, Remember, lift as high, try not to push off the ground with your foot too much or your hands to lift you. It all comes from the thigh. Okay, so ready? One, lifting as high as you can, and then back down. Two, three, four. Remember, you can readjust your foot. So if you're putting pressure on this knee, you can just bring it lower down. Five, six, seven, eight, nine, Now we'll just do circles in one direction 5 times and then circles in the opposite direction in 5 times. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't matter which way you're going. 4, 5, because we're going to go in the opposite direction now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Okay, let's move on to the other side. So from this sort of position again, okay, the higher you have your leg, you might find the harder it'll be to lift up. So just start off nice and low. Okay. So once again, engaging your foot by now pointing, but bending. Okay. Ready? 10 lifts first. Ready? Go. 1. Try not to put a lot of pressure on your opposite foot. 2. Try not to close your foot either. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Circles now in 5 in each direction. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Okay. Still with my left leg extended this time. Okay, I'm gonna bring my right leg over. Left leg, excuse me, bent underneath. Ideally, you want to have your foot flat on the ground, but if it's off the ground, that's okay. That just means you have tighter hips, so tighter hamstrings, so that you're not able to put your foot all the way flat on the ground. That's okay. The first thing is always lifting. Okay, once we can do the lift, that's when we pull it. Okay, so because I can already do this, I'm taking my opposite hand, so I'm not turning in the same direction as my knee, turning in the opposite direction, and then just straight from here, pull. You can do it in pulses with your breath, so as you breathe in, relax, and then breathing out, you pull inwards towards yourself, or you can just hold. It's up to you. Nice, very good. So we straighten our leg first, bring our other one over, okay? Bring our left leg over, bend our right leg. Okay? Once again, using the opposite arm to pull in towards yourself. Very good. Relax. Okay. Next one we'll just do from our S position. So easiest way to get into that. Let's bring this down a little bit more. Is by just having your feet about shoulder width apart and then sitting so that your knee comes to the ground. If your knee goes over top of your heel, that means you were sitting too close. So go back to your original position and then just bring your foot down. So as you can see here, I'm just using my hand to support myself because it's gonna be hard to just keep this one. So I'm just supporting myself with my right hand, and then I'm going to just push myself towards my knee. Okay, the push is not so super far. Okay, it's just like the angle you've created for yourself with your foot. Okay, so that it's actually less than 90 degrees. Okay, but that's going to increase the pressure that you'll find on the hip. Okay, and there's just like this little muscle right along your hip that you can feel. It's not on the front part, it's actually just a little bit behind before it gets to your glute. You'll find that that gets really tense the entire time. So this is a good time to just massage it as you're moving forward. Good. Now I'm going to grab my back foot, bend it inwards just a little bit, and extend my foot back out. So from this position, I bend my foot, I bend my knee, and I just open up wide to start sitting towards towards my foot, my front foot. Okay, remember always use your hands so that you're supporting your weight. If you try and do this without hands, you might end up hurting yourself quite badly. So it's always good to have many points of connection onto the ground so that you can decide how much pressure you're going to put whenever you're doing these stretches. Good. So now my head's going to go towards my knee instead. So the direction of the weight is now different from here. You might find that it was a little bit on the inner part of the thigh. Here, it's more the outer part. Good. Bring that back. Okay. Opening up once again, going towards our opposite side. Still supporting myself with my hand. And then I just find that muscle once again. This side is actually not that tight, so that's okay for me. That means I won't need to just roll it out a little bit later. Once again, just pushing into your knee. So from this position, if you see, Remember, the closer you have your hand to your hip, the more you'll be able to push yourself into that knee. Okay, very good. Bending and then bringing our knee as far back as we can. When I do this one too, my back foot is not going to be like flat on the ground, so the top of my foot is not going to be flat on the ground. I'm still putting the inside part of my foot on the ground. So once again, that causes all that tension along the inner part of the shin and the thigh here. So that's just what we want. And then just moving forward towards my foot first. Very good. Now weight over top of your knee instead. All right, it's very good. Coming back. So first, remember with our foot over top of our thigh, if you can do it, and your knee is not high enough that it'll hinder you going forward, in which case you could just leave it on the ground. Okay. So at least for me, as my hips open up pretty well, I'm gonna have my foot on my side. Eventually, you can start working so that your knee is actually more in line with your foot. Okay, and then just straight from here, pulling. This is what I said about pulling from the knuckles of the foot. So rather than right on the arch, and you're bending your hip forward, you can go from the knuckles of the feet and then pull back. You're not pulling yourself forward, but you're pulling your toes back towards you. Whichever one you think is tighter for you, you can do either one. For me, it's my foot, so this one's the one I'm going to do. Which case, if you find your hip is more the area you want to target, just pull yourself forward from the arch of the foot. Nice, very good. Now I'm gonna put it back on the arch of my foot. Just open up my knee a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my body so that um, my elbow is along the inside part of my thigh. So you might find it can be, actually I'll do this with my foot onto the ground just so I can focus on the extension. So elbow on the inside, you can have the arm outstretched as well like this to help guide you moving forward. If you don't need that, it's okay. So once again, I'm gonna keep my arm as straight as possible as I can. Uh, let's see here. Okay, so you can start off with a bend and then just slowly work your head, work your elbow straight, and this will pull the upper body towards the side. Remember, try and find the range. So if you're finding too much pressure there, just go back from the top and then pull yourself and find that range. For me, I know it's all around here, so I can just go into it easier and then work my way there. Making sure your arm is not in front of you like so. Okay? It should always be trying to stack your shoulders, your elbows, and your wrist. That way you can target the actual side there, the obliques. Nice, relax. Go to the other side now. Once again, either foot on the ground, on your thigh, or a bit farther so that you're sort of trying to pull your knee in line towards you. On this side, I can't do it as much, so I'll just stay here. Okay. And then for me, I'm gonna put the the belt right along the knuckles of the foot so that I can focus on pulling back my toes. It's very good. I'm gonna place my foot on the ground, extend my foot, extend my leg just a little bit, give myself a bit more range. Okay, grabbing from the end of the belt. Okay, first stacking my shoulders and then pulling towards the side. The friction that you create from your hand on the inner part of the thigh will help you keep sorta in place a little bit. So you can find the right range there. Now it's from like the front view of doing this one, more of a side view here, so you can see. Nice, very good. Relax. Okay, good. Uh, the last ones we'll do are just going to be laying on our on our chest and stomach, but I'm gonna put my belt right around my ankle now, so it just makes it a little bit easier for I uh, when I have to pull. Okay, because it can be very difficult to like wrap it around if like you don't know how to move your feet. Um, you'll anyways you'll see. So just laying on the ground here. Okay, so knees together. I'm pulling back from. I'm using both hands. Let's move a little bit lower down. Okay. Okay. Other foot doesn't really matter for this one, but you just want to have uh, both knees together. Not try to open um, either knee too far. Okay. Because then we're just easing the tension on on our leg. So just straight from here, pulling as much as we can, trying to lift our knee off the ground. You can definitely do this standing, um, but if you're gonna try and do this standing, I would suggest like putting your hand up against the wall so that you don't fall over. Nice, very good. Let's ease off. Go towards the other side. So you can see if you're like me, I'm still pulling and I'm replacing my foot. So that's an easier way. Well, I won't say easier. That's the easiest way for me to do this. You might need to like sit up and um, wrap it around your foot and then lay back down on the ground. But anyways, once again, making sure your knees are close together, okay, and then just pulling back from here. Nice, very good. Just relax. Okay, just any seated position. We're gonna do just some easy turns. So just from here, I'm doing this on my um, just sitting on my shins. Okay, but you can do this just regular sitting cross-footed. I just do this so I can keep the integrity of my back because when I tend to sit cross with my legs crossed, I tend to curl my back. But then at least this way, I know that my back is straight. And then just turn slightly. We're not trying to over exaggerate today when normally we try and go super far, and then I'm turning my gaze over top of my shoulder. Here it's more just very good. Other side. Nice. And then just relax.